adoption should not be abolished. What basis do you have for saying those things are wrong? That's immoral. It's immoral for Muhammad to be using God that way to justify his behavior. It's immoral for him to be taking the wife of his own adopted son after causing the divorce by lusting after the woman.
Right.
And it's immoral of Muhammad to abolish one of the most humane practices in human history, namely the practice of adoption. What basis do you have for that? So what we have here is a situation where atheists, they understand that that's wrong. They can look at that and say there are so many things wrong with this situation here. There's so much that's clearly wrong, but they don't realize that if God doesn't exist, there is no real moral standard that goes beyond us. It's all just our thoughts and feelings and what our society teaches and how we happen to be hardwired, but nothing that would allow you to say this is truly, truly wrong. And so let's go to back to William Lane Craig's version of the moral argument to show people the problem here. So in an earlier video, we discussed the moral argument, but here it goes. Premise one, if God does not exist, then objective moral values and duties do not exist. Meaning that if there is no God, if there's no ultimate standard of good, if there's nothing beyond ourselves, then we're the ones who are kind of making the rules, and we make all kinds of different rules. Different societies make different rules. And so what's the standard that says this practice is right and that practice is wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong? What's the standard here? Well, there is none. So it all comes down to, whatever individuals believe or whatever societies teach. But that's not objective. That's not an objective standard, something that's independent of us. So if God does not exist, then objective moral values and duties do not exist. But now we have premise two, objective moral values and duties do exist, which our atheist friends agree with if they're condemning Muhammad. If you condemn Muhammad, then you are agreeing that objective moral values and duties do exist, that Muhammad has violated certain moral standards, that he has violated certain moral obligations. But if you recognize or acknowledge that without God, there is no moral standard beyond us, and therefore nothing objective, but two, you realize that there are things that are objectively morally wrong, then the conclusion follows, therefore God exists. And so why are you an atheist? Why are you an atheist if you understand, you have the parts of the argument all in your head? All you have to do is go to the conclusion, and the conclusion that is that God exists. So why are you an atheist condemning Muhammad when in condemning Muhammad, you're acknowledging that there are objective moral values and duties, and in acknowledging that, you're acknowledging that God exists.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a struggle and a challenge, and I can see, like I said, brother, why some of our